Okay, greetings everyone. We're going to continue with our SEO training, and last time we talked about that the title tag on your website is what is the main highlighted, bolded, underlined area in search engines that people click on. So you always want to make sure you do your title tag accurately. And we also talked about the meta description on your website shows up. Is how do you control these words right here that people read about your business? Again, when it shows up in Google, that's what Google puts here. Well, that's what they choose to put here. Unless if you don't have anything, they may read through your website, assuming you have information. But if you just have images, they might not. It might be left blank. So so what we're going to do is I want to actually give you a deeper look at what I would do. I think we were looking for originally as Atlanta Church. So let me go to that page in Google, and I'll show you what I would do if I wanted my website to show up in the top 10 results for that search phrase. Okay, so we see here one thing. I've got my Google set up to show the top 100 listings as compared to the top 10. So I'm going to go ahead and change that. Let's hit preferences, and I'll say Google, change it to the top 10 results per page. Okay, let's try it again. Atlanta Church. Okay, now we got our top 10 results here. So what am I going to do? How are we going to get our website to show up here? And if you notice, look over here on the right side, there's 18,300,000 websites that show up for Atlanta Church. So first hand, you could almost think, why in the world could my website or my church website show up if there's 18 million other websites all showing up? What makes Google going to choose mine as compared to these other ones? Again, that can look kind of intimidating. The first thing you need to do, if you really want to get an accurate understanding of the market or the search phrase that you want your website to show up in, again, you could be doing a worship conference, prayer conference, youth group. You could be doing a Detroit youth group, holy hip hop, whatever your search phrase is. The first thing you need to do is to put it in quotes. And put in quotes will give you a more accurate understanding of websites that have that phrase. Because if it didn't have the quotes, it's going to be any page that has the word Atlanta on the page and have the word church independently. You put in quotes so you know these people are really trying to focus on that phrasing, Atlanta Church. So again, you see we went from 18 million to 117,000, and that's 100 times, 1,000 times easier to compete on. Okay, so what do we do? Let me pull up my HTML editor, and it doesn't matter if you're using Dreamweaver or Joomla or some other system, some maybe GoDaddy site builder, you should be able to manipulate some of these things. So if you look here, this is a page that I just created. The first thing I would do is, if I'm going for the phrase Atlanta Church, one thing that works best with search engines is search engines read words. They can't read pictures. They can't, read flash. So you want to have enough words on your page. Okay. Now, not a lot of sites, your home page oftentimes is kind of a collage of kind of like a highlight. You may have your calendar of events. You may have some flyers or different things going on the home page. You may have a welcome video, a welcome message, a welcome image. It may be kind of scattered. You might not have a lot of room to put general information. So what I would do is I would say, like your About Us page, when you're going to describe the church, About Us, I would probably optimize my About Us page for search engines, especially for a generic search such as Atlanta Church, Tulsa Church, anything that's general. Your main focus, I would focus on the About Us page, because that's where you can add a lot of content and information. So the first thing I would do, I would not use, say, the phrasing about us.html or about us.php or whatever your name we use. I would change my about us page to be entitled my search phrase. If you can see here, I've got my web page is called Atlanta-church.html. Okay, you see that? I would not use about us. I would use Atlanta-church, because if you look here, going back to the internet, when you search for Atlanta Church, the first thing that comes up is atlantachurch.org. And of course, we can't buy that domain, but let's say if my church is called New Life, and I already, assuming you probably already have your own domain. If your church is called New Life, you might have newlifefellowship.org or .com. So there's no need to go back and change it. But what I would do is make that web page, that about us page, called Atlanta-church. So you would see it would be www.newlifefellowship.org/Atlanta-church. And main thing I'm trying to explain to you that the title of your web page, not just the domain, but if it's, see down here, you've got af.mail.news/story. That whole phrase is going to show up in Google. So if that phrase has the word Atlanta or Atlanta Church, like here, this website is called South Atlanta Church. But if you can put it on your HTML page, that would be definitely helpful for you. Okay. So again, my About Us page, I would change it to Atlanta-church.html. Okay. Then in my title tag, I would first put my keyword, Atlanta Church, and secondly, I would put the name of my church, New Life or New Life Fellowship, and whatever else I might want to put in that title. Okay, so that's a big thing here. You want the Atlanta Church to be first, and then the New Life to be second. Why? Because more people are looking for Atlanta Church than they are looking for New Life, assuming that's a new church. Nobody knows about you. So you want to focus on the keywords so that you can get in front of the people's face. Okay. Next, meta description. I would put something like New Life is an Atlanta church, so it's going to definitely show up immediately with a heart for missions, creativity, discipleship, whatever. Maybe put my mission statement. But you're going to make sure that Atlanta Church, my keyword phrase, is in the description. Again, that description is going to show up right here. Okay. Moving on. Keywords, I'd put something like Atlanta Church, Church in Atlanta, ATL Church. I might put non-denominational or whatever denomination I am. I put Atlanta, Georgia, and maybe a few more, and that's it. And again, the keywords never show up in any public area. Going on, in my body, the next thing I want to do, the header. Usually H1 is the HTML code, but the main thing is that the header of my page, I would put something like New Life Atlanta Church. You want to put your keyword phrase in your header. You want it in your title. You want the keyword in your description. You want your keyword in your keywords here. If you can, you want your keyword in the actual page name or your domain name. And then in my header tag, I would put Atlanta Church somewhere in there. So you could call, I'm trying to think of a different way of doing it. So Atlanta Church. And sometimes it depends on how your website is designed. If your header is really big and it gets a lot of attention, you might do something like I had about New Life. Let's put Fellowship. Atlanta Church. That's fine. People are just going to breeze through it. I'm not going to think too much of it. Going on. So something like this. So you got my keyword here, also my header. But then when you begin to describe your church, you want the keyword to be in the text, in the content on your website. Why? Because Google's going to read your website. And if you don't talk about Atlanta Church in your website, Google is not likely going to put you, they're not going to focus on you or have you highlighted as an important website for the search race Atlanta Church, unless it's not only in all these places, it needs to be in your content, what you're talking about. And again, we saw that there was 18 million websites that say Atlanta Church in general, but then even the phrase, just Atlanta Church as a phrase in quotes, there was 100,000. So again, you're competing with a lot of people, so you want to be efficient and effective in how you communicate. So something like this: New Life is an Atlanta church, church body or whatever, that seeks to live out our faith in a rich, intimate relationship with Jesus Christ, blah, 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 blah. Okay, next paragraph. Some say that Atlanta has more than enough churches. So I got the word Atlanta again. And I kind of, again, it should look normal. So I didn't always put Atlanta next to church every single time. But the words Atlanta show up separately. They show up together. We believe that the Atlanta church as a whole is not making a large enough difference in affecting the city. So anyways, that's just an intro. Let me actually show you the website, what this page looks like. Show what it looks like. Second. Here, of course, this is real generic. There's no images or anything. I just wanted to show you the plain Jane HTML. And if you up top here, you gotta refresh that. Up top, my title tag shows up here. Atlanta Church - New Life, whatever, ... Actually, I would actually put a little more. I definitely would always put Atlanta Church New Life Fellowship based New Life Fellowship based outside north, depending on where you are. If you're outside in the suburb, Atlanta suburb. My goal is I want to try to get my keyword phrase or part of my keyword phrase possibly 2 times if I can in the title tag. So New Life Church, Atlanta Church, New Life Fellowship is based outside of northern Atlanta suburb of, I'm sorry, I know nothing about Atlanta. I don't know where Decatur is or if I spelled it right, but that's kind of like I would want to put something like that in there. Actually, I definitely would do it again. If you're in a suburb, I would put that. Again, if it's suburb, I may want to even put that in somewhere in my description and also in here. Say if it's Decatur, Georgia, I'd put that in there also. So refresh this. And except here, Atlanta Church, New Life Fellowship, based outside of northern suburb of Decatur. Let me based. I'll take the word based out. Take out words that just don't really help. So anyway, so that's what I would put, something like that for my title tag. Again, about New Life Fellowship, Atlanta Church. Yeah, so again, my search range is here. New Life is an Atlanta church body, blah, 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 blah. We believe that Atlanta church as a whole. So again, so remember this, if you look at here also, you got my website, dtspeaks.com/demo/atlantachurch.html. So all these different ways of focusing on that keyword, having it not just a whole tons of keywords that don't make any sense to a normal person. You don't want to oversaturate your website with keywords. Why? Because search engines know that you're doing that just to get their attention. And when you overdo or overdose any of the various techniques Search engines will know that, and they'll blacklist you. They'll throw you down at the bottom of the list, you know, at the bottom of the 18 million websites or the 100,000 websites. You'll be right at the bottom, but your goal is to be in the top 10. Okay, so that pretty much is how I would optimize my my page. You got your main content, you got your header. Again, sometimes depending on how much information you're going to write about it, you could you know, it's about us page. You may talk about the location. We're a church, you know, based in Atlanta. You know, you may want to still put some more phrases, but you want to do it naturally. You want to do it naturally. You want it to sound natural, but you want to make sure you put those keyword phrases in there so that the search engines will pick it up. And if you do this, number one, you'll definitely, I'm sure that of these 117,000 websites, 95% of them are not optimized to this extent, that are specifically targeting the phrase Atlanta Church, and they have it in their header, they have it here. You know, so therefore you'll definitely get some very good rankings compared to all these. Will you get in the top 10? Not likely. It's going to take some other. We're going to show you some other things in the next video, the next training, to show you the next step. If your page is optimized, and you're going to want to do this for every page, if you can. In other words, if there's other phrases, Atlanta Church, again, I mentioned in the worship conferences, you know, even your pastor's name, or you want to focus on your denomination, you may put it on different pages on your site, but as much as you can, you want to optimize every page so that people can find you when they search for various different phrases. But really, the major next step and to get your website showing in search engines is called, it's going to be backlinking or linking, and that is getting other people, other websites to link to you, to talk about you, to put your information on their website and have a hyperlink pointing to you. That is going to be huge, 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 huge to not only get you to show up, but to really make your website stand out far and above all these other 117,000 or whatever the number is, whatever you're trying to do, how to get your site to show up above all the other ones. And that's going to be link building or backlinking. And we'll talk about that next. Thanks.